Let me get Fortenbaugh in here. We'll call this my KOD.
Hashtag KOD. The kiss of death.
The KOD is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more, and I am going to be making my picks based largely on the information we get now from Joe Fortenbaugh, who is our betting analyst extraordinaire. Good morning, and welcome back to the season, Joe Fortenbaugh.
Greeny, I got to be honest, doing this with you last year and then starting today, I feel like that was the exact same Jets rant that we started with last year. You just subbed out the new stories for the old stories. But I got to be honest, you were like bang on. It's the exact same thing from a year ago.
And the year before that, and the year before that. I don't know if you heard this earlier, Joe, but my son and I last night came to the tragic realization that this is now the third generation in which there is a transcendent quarterback in the division, one for each team. It was Miami with Dan Marino.
Yep.
And then it was the Patriots with Brady. And now it's the Bills with Allen. And one thread of commonality is the Jets drafted a quarterback in front of all three of them. The Jets took Ken O'Brien in front of Dan Marino. Why are you laughing? This is not funny.
Because I'm thinking, I see the pictures of the Greeny family vacations, and it looks like you have a wonderful time. But behind the pictures, these conversations are what's taking place.
That's correct. The Jets took Ken O'Brien in front of Marino. They took Chad Pennington in front of Tom Brady. And they took Sam Darnold, who is now a backup on another team, ahead of Josh Allen, who is now the best quarterback in football. That's my lot in life. So let's see if at least I can win some money this weekend. Joe, help me out. Let's dive into some of these. Let's start with Minnesota Green Bay. I think that's a really interesting game. I said earlier, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be watching that game from the sideline when he's not on the field and the Minnesota offense is, and he's going to be thinking, can I have any of those guys? Because if I had any of the receivers or the running back that Kirk Cousins does, I would set this league on fire. Give me the insight on that game in Minnesota Sunday.
My guess is that the public's going to want to play the Packers because they've generated a lot of good returns for the public over the years. They've won a lot of games. They have Aaron Rodgers. The professionals, however, are going to be on Minnesota. This game was up as high as Green Bay minus 2.5. It's dipped to about 1.5 now, and there are a lot of good reasons for that. Number one, on the Green Bay side, you take Devontae Adams off that offense, you're losing about 30% of your targets, your receptions, and your receiving yards from a year ago. Now, I know another guy's going to step into the role, but he's not going to produce to that level. Adams was top 3 in the NFL in all those categories. So right there, you take a ding to the Green Bay offense. Then you have to factor in Minnesota. Minnesota at home versus Minnesota on the road are two very different things, especially when it comes to the defense. That crowd noise is a huge advantage when it comes to sacks, pressures, turnovers. And with Kevin O'Connell coming in to take over that offense that is loaded, as you mentioned, with weapons, I think Minnesota's the play. Take the 1.5, play him on the money line. I like him to win that game.
I like that very much. Hold that thought 1 second, Joe, because I have reasonably significant breaking news while it is not a surprise, and I would like to get your reaction to it, and we'll get it to everybody else. But this feels important enough that we should get this out there immediately. The Baltimore Ravens have released a statement from their general manager, Eric DeCosta, and I will read it to you verbatim. Despite best efforts on both sides, we were unable to reach a contract extension with Lamar Jackson. We greatly appreciate how he has handled this process, and we are excited about our team with Lamar leading the way. We will continue to work towards a long-term contract after the season, but for now we are looking forward to a successful 2022 campaign. So that is the statement in its entirety from General Manager Eric DeCosta of the Baltimore Ravens. Joe, what, if any, reaction do you have? Lamar Jackson will now, it's not unexpected, he will play this season on the final year of his rookie deal.
On the Jackson side of the equation, maybe it's time to think about hiring an agent. I know he wants to do things his own way. I know he and his mom work together. This isn't to knock that. It can be done, obviously, but I have a hard time feeling that Baltimore is going way below market value on Lamar Jackson. Maybe it's not exactly what he wants, but I have a hard time believing it's that far below market value. From the Baltimore side of the equation, I wonder, do they still feel snake bitten from 2012 when they tried to get a deal done with Joe Flacco? Flacco balked. He played out the season. He won the Super Bowl. And I think everyone knew Flacco wasn't a guy you should invest a ton of money into. But because he had just won the Super Bowl, they felt they had to do it. They did. And the organization went down almost immediately after that. I wonder if they feel like something like that could happen with Jackson, given his running style and his penchant for taking hits and suffering injuries.
Okay. So I think that's right. We'll have more insight into the Lamar Jackson situation as we go. But again, I don't know that it will have any impact on them this Sunday or this season. But that
Well, they're
is
playing the
latest.
Jets, so they should be fine.
No, and I would say I kind of lived without that, Joe. Here I'm pumping you up. I'm all excited. I see you last night on SportsCenter with your mustache, and I'm thinking, oh look, how exciting it is! And then now all of a sudden, here we are with this nonsense. Okay,
It was too easy. It was too easy.
next stop. How about Dallas Tampa? That's a great game Sunday night. How do we see it?
I'd look to play the under, and the money's been coming in on the under. We're down to 50.5. 51 is a key number. A lot of final scores end on 51. I shouldn't say a lot, but percentage-wise, it's one of the more popular outcomes, so you want to be on the right side of that. Now that it's dipped to 50.5, it wouldn't be as big of a wager, but it's still a wager worth making, in my opinion, for one key reason. Not one, but both offensive lines are damaged goods coming in. Ryan Jensen, the starting center for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, out for the foreseeable future. Both starting guards for Tom Brady last year are no longer with the roster. If you can generate pressure up the middle against Brady, which is exactly what the New York Giants did in not one but two Super Bowls, you can move him off his mark. You can force him to be inaccurate. You can force him to be somewhat human. On the other side, similar situation with Dallas. Problems all along the offensive line, injuries, departures in free agency. If you can't block, you can't consistently run the ball. You also can't hold up in protection. Both offenses are going to stall. I'm going under 50.5 total points.
Greeny and Joe Fortenbaugh here, our betting analyst here, looking at all of the different games and the action you can get involved in this weekend. Let me get one more NFL game and then a college game. I'm interested in the Bears and 49ers this weekend because I have had a bunch of people tell me this week that on Monday, one of the topics of conversation is going to be, should the 49ers have taken Justin Fields instead of Trey Lance? Now, this is like a month removed from people telling me Trey Lance is going to be a sneaky MVP candidate. So I don't know what the heck is going on in San Francisco. I don't know how to figure that game. We all think the Bears are awful and the 49ers are great. How do we consider playing that game?
All right, I'm going to give you some insight on the side, and then I'll give you two picks. With the side, this game has been San Francisco as a 7-point favorite for a while now. Right up until last night and this morning, and you saw some very sharp sports books move off the key number of 7 to 6.5. Some Bears money hit the market, so take that for what it's worth. The public is going to be all over San Francisco. It's going to be a popular teaser play, survivor play, but there is some sharp money coming in on the Bears. Now, two plays I would make here. Number one, I'd go under 40.5 total points. What does Kyle Shanahan want to do? Run the ball. What is Kyle Shanahan very good at? Scheming the running game. Trey Lance, young quarterback on the road against one of the worst defensive lines in football. You don't need to be too creative here. Run the ball, control the clock, lean on your defense. Same.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.